How do you prepare yourself for the I want to rent conversation? Because it's going to come, and if you want to make sure you're prepared for it, watch this video and I'll give you a ton of tips on how to handle it. Hey, it's Jason Everett from highperformancesalon.com, and we are here to help serve you, to help you increase your profit, grow the amount of time you take off, and create the dream team that you've always wanted. Now, if you haven't had it yet, if you run a commission salon, you will at some point have somebody ask you, or say, I'm ready to go rent, and they're either gonna leave and go to another rental salon, or they're gonna say, hey, would you entertain me renting at this salon? So one of the mistakes I see a lot of times, people create like a hybrid model, and what ends up happening is they say, commission is for people who are starting out, they need to build up their business, and then eventually the goal is to move to a rental model where you can keep all of your income. And just that mindset of like moving from commission to rental and that rental becomes the goal can be really dangerous, because we've done a lot of studies and just done side-by-side comparisons where you look at how much somebody can make in a commission salon versus what they can make in a rental salon, and it's almost side-by-side as exactly the same amount of income, but the person inside the rental salon typically has a lot more responsibilities they have to deal with versus some commission salons actually have teams of people around them. But the biggest thing we notice is that once somebody leaves a commission environment and moves to rental, they usually plateau or they flatline. So whether they made it to 60 grand a year, 80 grand a year, or even $100,000 or more, once they move to a rental environment, their income usually peters off and just stays the same for the next 5 months, 5 years, or a decade. Like, they stay in that place for a really long time. So what we see in commission environments that are run properly is that people continue to level up and they elevate who they are, and they grow from maybe being a very heavy producer to maybe being in management, and then maybe even moving into salon ownership when things are done properly. So how do you prevent people from having that conversation, say, hey, I think I'm getting up to where I need to be, I'm ready to rent? Well, what you do is you establish that conversation actually during the hiring process. Is if you talk about it with them either during the hiring process or during the onboarding process in the very early stages of their business, and you actually say, hey, I just want to talk to you because we are a commission salon. Here's how commission salons work. Here's how rental salons work. And you educate them with side-by-side differences. And we have a spreadsheet inside our High Performance Salon Academy that shows those things side by side, so you can have a really good conversation. You can plug in your numbers and actually show them side by side how much they'll make in commission versus how much they'll make on rental. And what happens is that usually it's a family member that says, hey, you're working for the other person, you're doing all the work. Maybe you should start your own salon and go off and do this on your own. Can't you just go rent a booth somewhere? Now, if you've already taken care of that during the onboarding process and you've shown them side by side, you can make similar income, you have a lot more responsibilities as a renter, usually that will squash that conversation. And what will happen is that person will go, you know what, I've looked into it before and it's actually not what I want to do because I'd have to do a heck of a lot more work in order to grow, and I want to have an infinite growth opportunity instead of plateau or peter off my income. And so do you see how it's kind of like in a garden, it's like you're actually spraying down weed killers so those little weeds don't grow, because those little weeds, what will end up happening is they start talking about rental and doing that with their friends and family, is those weeds will grow and it will eventually take over the garden instead of letting the plants you want to have grow. So a little bit of weed killer, making sure they understand that there's a lot more work that happens in a rental environment. And it might be for some people, but this is the expectation you have in the commission salon. It would make a massive difference if you educate them about that earlier in the process inside their onboarding or during their hiring process. And that'll prevent you from having to have that awkward conversation about rental. And again, if you're running a hybrid salon, I'm just saying it's going to create an opportunity for people to say, well, what's better? Is it rental or is it commission? I'm a big fan of trying to pick one. I've seen it work, but it doesn't always work out for the best. So do me a favor, if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and on Facebook, and do me a favor and head over to our Profitable Salon Owner Facebook group where we give you tons of other great tips and videos just like this one. Have a good day.